Hallie, I'll start with you just for the details here. What do we know about this agreement that was made and why the Department of Justice has not met that deadline?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions here, Kate and Zinkland. It's good to be with you both. There was, the best I think I can describe it, there was an escalation and then what appeared to be a de-escalation and now a real question mark on whether this needs to be escalated again. And here's the backstory here, that as you and I have talked about, after the massive drop of documents just about a week ago now, back on Friday, there was a number of missing redactions, identifiable information that some survivors were incredibly frustrated with, given that the law, obviously the Epstein Transparency Act, says that information needs to remain private when it comes to these Epstein survivors. Flash forward to Monday, the DOJ told NBC News in a statement that they had been working over the weekend to redact thousands of names. That said, there was still concern, and this is why it was escalated to a federal court by the attorneys for some of the survivors, basically saying, hey, listen, have the DOJ take down the whole website. Have them take it down altogether so they can make these redactions and put it back up. Now, right before the court hearing was supposed to happen yesterday, just in the hours before that, there was apparently an agreement reached, whereas the DOJ and these attorneys, according to the attorneys, would have come to some sort of a deal, an agreement in order to navigate these missing redactions. Here's where we are now. That apparently has not happened, according to these attorneys that say that they are incredibly dealing with a lot of incoming here from some of these Epstein survivors that are having their personal identifiable information out there publicly. And so that is where things stand. I would say here we are 6 days after that initial document drop on Friday, with that frustration still very much present for some of these survivors about the way that this was handled. I would call that a process concern, given that this is so deeply personal for so many of them. And again, is part of the legal requirement from Congress here, Kate and Zinkland.
Hallie Jackson, thank you. And Danny, I want to go to you because you were nodding as Hallie was relaying a lot of the sequence of events that have unfolded. You said the documents released and the lack of redactions triggered a lot of difficult emotions for you, but also that it felt deliberate. Why?
Yeah, I think it definitely feels deliberate because I think so many of us are public, right? And so just to see the forward-facing people with their names spread, but it wasn't just those that are public, right? It was Jane Doe's, we know that. But I was agreeing with Hallie on process, right? Something that we saw, or something that I saw, was that I saw my 302 name unredacted, all of my identifying information out there, exposed Jane Doe's, all of that, and then it was taken down and taken off. And now, and I know that it's being worked on so that it will be redacted, but I also saw a manila envelope with like sort of chicken scratch handwriting on it, with my name on the side of it, and that is not redacted, and my story is actually not the one that's on the front of the manila envelope, but my name's attached to it. So it just feels like, and the deliberate side of it, when I'm looking at, to your question, when I looked at my first document that I found, it was the DANIELL was redacted and the E was left off, and then my last name and my middle name were there, and then right below it, it had my name, Danielle, right? So that's what I mean about deliberate. If the whole page was just blank with redactions, oh, they missed that page. But no, and there was another page where all of my identifying information's there, but Danny, which is my nickname, is redacted, right? So we just don't know, we don't know why.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah. What would their incentive, what someone at the FBI's incentive be to leave your public information in there? Do you know?
I don't know, but I think that the bigger problem is that we are protecting the perpetrators and that the victims are exposed. We know there was a document where Virginia Giuffre's name was freely open for everybody to see, and Andrew's name, Prince Andrew, formerly Prince Andrew, was redacted, right? And so, and this comes time and time again. There was another file where I was trying to find something that I had said in 2018, and the agent that I spoke to is redacted, but I'm not, right? And so there's certain things out there that there's just no rhyme or reason to any of it. So that feels hard.
Can we talk a bit more about the DOJ? You've expressly said to us that you wish to speak with Attorney General Pam Bondi. What did those conversations look like with the DOJ prior to this release, and what do you hope they look like moving forward?
Yeah, no conversation for survivors. I think that has been another sort of slap to the face for survivors, is that we have been begging. I know a survivor who wrote a letter to Todd Blanche. I have said in every interview. We've gone through nonprofit organizations saying, please, can we speak to somebody at the DOJ? We actually have a lot of information that could help. And instead, nobody has reached out to us, or, there's been no apology. There's been no, we're working on it. They've been in contact with our lawyers, but you would think that they would want a survivor voice in there. And that there's been no contact.
Danny Bensky, thank you.